Hi, I'm Randy Robison. Welcome to Life Edition, a special digital edition. You're only going to see this here because I am here with Jonathan Feldstein, who is the president of Run for Zion. What is that? It's very interesting. We're going to talk to you and show you a little bit. Good to have you.
It's great to be here, Randy.
Always enjoy talking to you and seeing what you're doing. You've done some interesting things in the past. And this one, well, you got medals. Why don't you show us what the medals are?
So the medals are for the last 4 years of the Jerusalem Marathon. And what we're doing this year is we're especially branding, as you said, Run for Zion, to engage Christians and enable Christians to come and run in Jerusalem and wear a medal like this after doing anywhere from 10K to a full marathon at their pace, walking, running, and we're expecting hundreds of people to participate along with the tens of thousands who will be there running anyway. It's a magnificent day.
Where does the route go? What's sort of the layout?
Oh, that's great. So it starts near the Knesset in the modern center of the government in Jerusalem, and then runs toward the old city. And it's sort of like a tease. And then before you go into the old city, you circle to the north and go around Jerusalem all the way to Mount of Olives.
Wow. And
then come back. Because Jerusalem's a relatively small city, and then you go into the old city. Everyone, whether you run 10K, half marathon, full marathon, everyone runs through a portion of the old city, and you come out through the Zion Gate, yeah. and then you run south, and you get to envelop Jerusalem from another side, from the southern side. So you actually are encircling Jerusalem 3/4 of the way, the old city that is, and it's a magnificent race.
If I could run that far, and I cannot, if I could, I think my time would be really poor because I'd be sightseeing the whole time.
So people are encouraged to do that, and I don't think we're going to do it this year, and I'm sort of showing my hand a little bit, but I think next year what I'm going to do is offer people the opportunity to get a little drone to follow them so that they can capture that moment and see the whole city. And we are planning something, if we can get it up off the ground this year, that will give people even at home watching here or following their spouse or their child or their pastor who might be running to be able to see Jerusalem come alive in front of them.
So what is the whole runner's experience that you're looking at? Because this is something, the marathon has been going on for a long time, right?
The marathon's about 10 years old. It's really very well implemented. About 35,000 people ran this past year, and it's like a big family picnic, mostly Israeli. And what I realized a couple of years ago, which was the birth of Run for Zion, is that there are very few non-Israelis who come proportionally, and very few of them are Christian. And if you're a Christian and you're a runner, running in Jerusalem has to be the most evocative and spiritual place, because you're not only going into the old city, but every step in modern Jerusalem, and we're intermixing the old and the new, and it's really spectacular.
If a Christian's running on this race, whichever course they're on, how much of where Jesus walked would they see?
So that's a good question. I'm not an archaeologist. I know that you get awfully close to the Temple Mount, but you're not obviously running on the Temple Mount. That's certainly where Jesus worshipped and where he preached, as well as the southern steps. You're getting really close to there. You go through a corner of the old city of Jerusalem, but I think the most spectacular part is the look at Jerusalem from the east, looking at the old city from Mount of Olives, because we know that that's where he would have seen it. And the difference today is that instead of a golden dome in the middle of it, he saw the temple.
Yeah. You mentioned pastors, you mentioned runners. Who do you want to see there? Who should say, I'm interested in this?
I want, first of all, obviously anyone who's a runner, and whether that person's a real serious marathon runner or somebody who's just a student or not even a student, but young and healthy and runs a couple of times a week. This is a tremendous opportunity to do that. But I've got people on the board, pastors, other friends who said, Jonathan, this is just too special to pass up. I'm not going to run it all, but I'll definitely sign up for the 10K and do a mix of walking and running, and we're combining. And so that's what we're building a whole package around, but there's going to be before and after with touring. The marathon, because of the way the weekend falls in Israel, Friday's the beginning of the weekend. So the race begins on Friday morning. Friday night is the Jewish Sabbath. So I'm going to be hosting a Shabbat dinner for all of the participants and make that a festive, really fun, meaningful Jewish experience for everybody, but Sunday will be a worship service. And what I'm also real excited about is the Thursday night, traditionally the night before your marathon. And we say marathon, I don't want people to get frightened off by the notion of 26 miles, because it really can only be 10 kilometers. But we're going to do a pasta dinner before, so everyone gets their fill and carbs. But I want that to be a Christian experience. I want people to come away physically nourished for the race, but spiritually charged up for what they're about to do the following morning.
Yeah. So it's more than just a run. It's a sightseeing. It's an immersion in it's an experience.
We're doing 2.5 days of touring, and the other element that overlaying this, and not anyone has to do this, but we're overlaying a crowdfunding opportunity. So anyone who signs up gets an opportunity for their own crowdfunding page. They can invite their friends and family, and the money for that will be going to bless different organizations in Israel that encompass a wide range of the Israeli population, from Holocaust survivors to people who don't have enough money to put food on the table, to orphans and youth at risk. We have a whole list that we're building together to make it a really, really impactful experience. And for me, truthfully, Randy, the best part of it, that's important. Tourism is great, raising money for various nonprofits in Israel. But for me, it's really the embodiment of what God promises in Genesis 12:3. He doesn't say, bless Israel, I am the Lord your God. He says, bless Israel and I will bless you. I know that I'm given an opportunity to give people a reciprocal blessing for blessing Israel. And that's honestly the most exciting piece of it.
What made you decide to bring a bunch of Christians to Israel?
God called me back in the late 80s in a church in Cleveland, Tennessee, and I think I had shared this with you off camera. I think it was the first time I was ever in a church, short of seeing a famous one as a tourist that my mother took me in when I was a child. God called me to be a bridge between Jews and Christians, and I've been privileged. It makes me a better human being, makes me a better Jew. And even if it wasn't something that was meaningful to me, it's something that I really have to embrace, because that's what God has called me to do, and I love it. And through that, and through the last couple of decades, I've been given this really great privilege of being able to look at things that are relating to Israel or Judaism through a different prism. And that's where Run for Zion was born, because I realized you can't just publicize the opportunity to run races or bike-a-thons or something in Israel through the prism of being an Orthodox Jew. You have to broaden it to the whole world. And I think we as Jews and Israelis have a responsibility to do that specifically for Christians, because we understand that that's the center, Israel's the center of your faith. And if we're only, branding isn't a right word, it's very businessy and commercial, and I don't have a better word, but if we're only branding it in a way that relates to Jews and we're not speaking to our brothers and sisters who are Christians, then we're missing an opportunity to engage that. I'm personally missing an opportunity then to be that bridge. And I think we're not upholding our end of the bargain to be able to make Israel as user-friendly and as important as it is and should be to Christians.
Yeah, I'll give you the Christianese word for that.
Okay.
Vision.
Okay.
That's what we would say.
Good.
You have a vision to bring Christians and Jews together. And
I received that.
Okay. From a Christian perspective, I mean, the history here is fascinating.
Yeah.
And everybody, I have not been. I've been all over the world. I have not been to Israel yet. But the ones I know that have been there, they say just to walk around and see where Jesus taught, where he walked, where he ministered, where he was crucified. I mean, these are all very important things.
Tremendous.
To Christians. And so I think it's very cool what you're doing. What is the weekend or the date? Because I know it's probably slightly different each year.
Friday, March 15th, 2019.
2019, okay.
We have
So
right
is it
now.
right there in the middle of March every year? Is
Yeah,
that what
it's right around that week every year. We have a bunch of seats reserved on a direct flight from New York already, and we're expecting hundreds of people. So I've got a great land agent that's doing all of the arrangements with the touring, with all individuals. We're offering a 5-star package if someone wants to upgrade and get a 4-star package, and if someone wants to get a 5-star package, then they can do that. And if they want to fly through a particular country, then we can do that. And we're gonna it's all inclusive, and I'm excited about it.
All of that at runforzion.com.
Runforzion.com.
If you're a Christian, if you're a runner, or runner walker like me, if you can get through 10K, or if you just want to go. This is a great opportunity. I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and share that with us.
It's a blessing to be here.
Check it out, runforzion.com. Thank you for watching and sharing this interview. Be sure to check out the social media for Life Today Television, and you can connect with me on Facebook and Twitter. And if you haven't already subscribed or followed this channel, do it now so you can see more of our great guests.